Okay, hang on one sec, folks. Let me try and get this thing working. Just one sec. Okay, so here we go. Listen, I'm going to make this short. Again, Clay's coming back down. He went to go visit his family. I've been saving the information that I have. Everything's timing with the Lord. So here we go. My dad was buried yesterday. The day that my dad died, I was awakened at 6:30 in the morning, and I went back to bed, and because my son was out of town and I didn't have to be at any particular job or anything, so I thought I'm gonna just jump back in bed for a little while, which I did, and I went immediately into a deep sleep, and I had a dream. I haven't had a dream like this since 2001. I was at a place called the Gallatin Gateway Inn, and I'm going to tell you all about all this stuff. But anyway, so the day that my dad died, I'd gone back to bed at approximately 6:30 because I walked into the kitchen after I woke up. I went to the restroom, walked into the kitchen, looked at the stove, saw what time it was, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to bed for a little while. I went back to bed, and when I went back to bed, I had a dream that was so real and so unbelievable that I woke up from that dream, and I'm gonna share with you what the dream was. I already recorded it the day it happened, and I literally walked into a like bungalow in paradise. I opened the door and I walked in and I looked on the ground and like, oh my God! My dad was laying on the floor, and it was a body, and in the embodiment of that body was not just my dad. It was my brother, my family members, plural, but it was all in one body, and it was my dad laying on the floor dead. And so I'm having this dream at approximately 7 a.m. because I went back to bed around 6:30 something. And so anyway, and I walked in, and in my dream I walked in and I opened the door to this bungalow in paradise, and I was like, oh my God. And there was a bunch of people that were standing there, and I had walked in and I caught them. And in my dream, I looked at him and I went, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Y'all are so busted. And I took my cell phone like this, and I pointed my cell phone and I went, you, and you. And then I went, and there's the evidence, and I videotaped the body on the ground. And I said, y'all are all busted murder. And they go, what are you going to do? And I said, I'll show you what I'm going to do. And I took my cell phone and I hit send, and I showed them like, I'm sending the video out. And I sent the video out. The evidence was sent out in my dream. And they like looked at each other like, and I looked at him and I said, my sister's an attorney. I just sent it to her, and I go, watch this. And I sent it again, and I sent it again in my dream. And so and then I said to this group of people that was standing around the body of my dead dad, and it was like I said, it wasn't just my dad, it was my dad. It was like my dad's body, but it was inside, it was my brother, my family member, and it was incorporated into one body. And I was like, y'all are busted. And so I videotaped them. I went, you, and you, y'all are busted. I go, there's the evidence. And they said, what are you going to do? And I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I hit send. And I said, my sister's an attorney. And I go, watch this. And I hit send like 2 more times. And I said, y'all are going to go before a judge, and you're going to be judged for murder, and you're going to be convicted for murder. And then they all looked at each other like, well, where do you think you're going? Like, me. And I looked at him and I just said, whatever. And I walked past them. They couldn't touch me. I walked past them, and I walked out the door to the bungalow, and I started flying up into the air. And they were running on the ground, chasing me. And I looked down at them and I said, there's nothing you can do. And then I sat up in my bed going like, like, what the hell was that? And then I'll just show you, this is that's where I sleep. And then right here is where I charge my phone by my bed. So I sat up on the edge of my bed right here, and I sat there, and there's a chair over there, and I sat there, and I put my hands on my head, and I was like, what a freaking crazy dream. God, that was so real. That was crazy. So I reached over and I picked up the phone and I called my dad. And I called him, I called him at his home, and it rang several times. It went to an answering machine. He has an answering machine in his house. When it goes off, you can hear it. So if I'm standing there and the phone rings, it goes to his answering machine. I can hear his answering machine, whatever anyone's saying. So anyway, I called and I said, hey, Dad, listen, I know you weren't feeling so well yesterday. I'm just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Give me a call when you get back. I'll try you on your mobile. And then I tried his mobile and I called his mobile and it went straight to voicemail. And I went, wow, that's really weird. And so then I left a message on his mobile. I said, hey, Dad, it went straight to voicemail. I guess you're at the doctor. Just give me a call when you get out. Hung up. I went and took a shower. I came back in my room. I got dressed. I got in my car, my truck. I started driving off. And I was just getting on the highway and I heard in my spirit the Lord say, call your dad. And I called my dad first on the mobile. It went straight to voicemail. I was like, that's crazy. And so I called his house and it rang and it rang and it went to his answering machine. And so I said, hey, Dad, listen, I'm a little worried. Of course, I didn't, elaborate that I just had a dream that I walked in and found my dad dead on the floor. And like I said, it wasn't just my dad. It was my dad, my brother, my family member, and I had caught all the murders. And the point is, I know what it represents. It means it's the body of Christ. Anyway, so I walked in and so anyway, I called my dad a second time in his house. It went to the answering machine and I said, hey, Dad, listen, I'm a little concerned. I haven't heard from you. If I don't hear from you in 30 minutes, I'm just going to come by your house. And I hung up the phone. Well, then right then my phone rang and it said, Henry Kleck. And so I thought it was my dad calling back and I go, hey, Dad. I said, hey, what's up, Dad? And it was the housekeeper. And she was like, oh, my God, Jonathan, get over here. Oh, my God, hurry. Your dad's on the floor. Oh, my God, hurry. And so I said, call 911. I'm on my way. So I just made a U-turn on the highway. And I just got off the exit, made a U, and I went to my dad's house, put on my blinkers, and, broke a lot of traffic laws getting there in about 7 minutes. I walked into my dad's bathroom and my dad was laying there dead on the floor. Identical to my dream. Identical to my dream. The reason I told him I was going to come over and check on him because in my dream I'd walked in on my dad and he was dead and it was so real. Well, in 2001 I had a dream that was very similar to that at the Gallatin Gateway Inn. I'll tell you all about that later, but I'm kind of saving all this to tell y'all what it all means and what it means to me, what it means to the ministry, what it means to everything. I'm a harbinger. I've been given the court admissible evidence, just like in my dream. Just like in my dream, I videotaped all the murders that murdered my dad. Well, Jesus was murdered. Jesus was our dad in the flesh. Jesus is our brother. Jesus is a representation of all of us. We are one body in Christ. So in my dream, when I walk in and I see my dad laying on the floor and I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, it wasn't just my dad. It was my brother, my family members, but it was one body that looked like my dad. I'm like, what the hell? And then I look up and there the murders are. I'm like, okay, all you guys are busted. There's the evidence. Well, here's the thing. The Lord gave me the rest of the evidence to put the final nail in Satan's coffin in court. So I have the court admissible evidence that's going to put Satan, we will judge angels. And I'm going to deliver the rest of that information to y'all in the next day or two. And everything I've shown y'all has been perfect. All the information he's shown me is perfect. The revelation of the data has been perfect. The timing of the revelation of the data has been perfect. So I live in a house right now that it's very odd. I told y'all that this house was given to me by my dad because in the past my dad had taken a house that was mine that did not belong to him. And he benefited over probably $300,000 from taking my house I left in his name. So he was trying to pay me back by giving me this house that was dilapidated and run down, and I had to remodel the thing completely. Anyway, so my dad's died now, so the house that I live in that literally has the Lord's name on the house. And a lot of people, let me show you what that means. A lot of people won't understand what that means. This house that I live in literally has the Lord's name on it. And so what comes after your father dies? Well, they read the will and you get your inheritance. Well, my inheritance is the house with the Lord's name on it. And so I'll let you guys just kind of think about that yourself and just let's see if it's in here. This, let's see if this has the het symbols. Let me just go back. I don't think it's an accident that it opened up on that page either. Let's see if this guy has it. I'm just looking for the het symbols that are on the front of the house. So just give me a minute. I'll try the Revelation 3:10. Anyway, this house has 3 het symbols on the front of the house. And the house itself literally has the Lord's name on it. I'm sorry, I can't find the folder it's in. Hang on. Okay, so here we go. So let me show you very quickly. This is an image of the house when I had begun the reconstruction process on it. I'd already started replacing the fascia up here on the roof. You can see it. Everything was just trashed. The yard was trashed. The house was trashed. The house had been flooded. It had water in the entire house. Okay, so if you look right here on this wall, on these strips of bricks going up, right here on the gray, there's a het symbol. There's another red het symbol here, and there's one here. They're all made out of clay. These red bricks are made out of clay. The other ones are made out of a form of granite that have metal in them. So this is like a form of brick, this gray one that has metal, but the red ones are all red clay. That's very unbelievable when you realize the depth of the revelation in that the bricks on this house that are in the shape of a het symbol are made out of clay instead of a metal content like these granite. Anyway, so here we go. There's one of the het symbols. Here's the het symbol in Hebrew. And so het is the number 8. And so this house has 3 het symbols on it. And I'll show that to you right now. And they are in the same orientation as the cross of Calvary. So watch this. So right here is one het symbol, and it's taller, kind of like this cross right here. And there's another het symbol over here, kind of like this cross right here. And then there's another het symbol right here. So they're in the same orientation. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They're in the same orientation as the 3 crosses at Calvary. The het symbol represents the blood that was put over the doorpost and the lintel before they left Egypt, the Passover, when the Israelites, left Egypt, and Moses had said, "Let my people go," and then he called down that last plague, which was the firstborn of everyone would die, and it turned out it was the firstborn of Egypt died, not of the Israelites, because they were protected by, see, the blood of the lamb. So that back then in the days of Moses, what Moses told his people to do was, you need to kill a spotless lamb, which was a representation of the coming of Christ. It was a foreshadowing of Christ. So Moses said, kill a spotless lamb and put blood on the doorpost. See, like right here, here, and here. Put it on the doorpost and over the lintel. And it makes a red het symbol, the same thing that's on my house. Okay, well, when you have three het symbols together, the ones on my house, again, if you look at them, they're in the same orientation as the crosses at Calvary, where there's two thieves on the side, and then a little higher up in the middle was Christ. Just like these brick walls, they're the same as this. This is the same as this. Okay, and then there's het, het, het. Well, when you have het, the het is the number 8. Hebrew is alphanumeric. And if you look at the number 888 in Jewish gematria, the number 888 literally means Jesus. Jesus. So there it is. Jesus is 888 in Jewish gematria. Behold, a virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. Then Joseph, being raised from his sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took him his wife, and knew her not until she had brought forth her firstborn son, and called him Jesus. Okay, so the number 888, look right there, there it is. The number 888, Jesus, the salvation of our God. That is what is written on my house that I live in. That now that my dad has passed away, the inheritance, I already talked to my dad. This, again, I told you, my dad wanted to give me this house as a payback because he took something that didn't belong to him years ago. And so this house is his way of paying me back for what he did. And so I will be inheriting a house with the number 888, the salvation of the Lord. Now I want you to think about the spiritual significance of that I actually live in a house with his name on it. And by the way, the sidewalk that had to be repoured by a bizarre set of circumstances, there it is. The Lord told me, look up what that letter is in Hebrew. This is when I was remodeling the house. We had to redo the sidewalk like this. And because of a bizarre set of circumstances, it ended up being in this shape, which is the nun symbol. And the letter nun represents, and the Lord told me, look it up. It represents, the letter nun represents, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one here. The letter nun represents Christ's rule on earth. Anyway, very interesting stuff going on right now. My dad passed. I appreciate the comments. A lot of people, a lot of people are confident in that, my dad is in a better place. I'm not confident of that at all. My dad was born and raised Catholic, and he adhered to the Catholic religion. My mother was Catholic, and she adhered to the Catholic religion until she got sick with cancer, and I took care of her while she was dying. And I started ministering to her and showing her the dead sheep, and why would they do this? Why would, any religion hide these images? And my mom, I believe, came to faith. But, it's not a realistic a mindset to go, oh, your dad's in a better place now. I mean, I wish it were true. Unfortunately, the Catholic faith is rooted in a building that I'm going to show you right now that is a giant serpent. And I will finish the court admissible evidence, and I will deliver the indictment to Lucifer in the next couple of days, because him and his angels are going to be judged because they murdered our dad, which is the Lord God, Jesus in the flesh. And so again, there is the Catholic home of Catholicism. It's a large serpent wearing a crown. And if you go behind the crown and look from the other way, you'll see that the sidewalk is a split tongue right there. So I will finish delivering the court admissible evidence just like I did in my dream. I documented it in my dream. I said, you, and you. Y'all are all guilty. You're all about to be judged. And so the message is judgment is coming now for everybody. We're all about to be judged. We're all about to stand before the Lord. The locusts are coming. And I've got some videos to do with clay that are going to make your mouth fall open and hang on the ground. It's going to blow your mind. Anyway, so I'm checking in. That's what's up. If you guys don't if you don't have access to these folders that I put together, you need to get them, and you need to go through every folder and look at every picture in every folder and every subfolder. And this is where you go right here. And if you click on that link, I'll put it in the description box. It'll bring up all these different folders and you can look at these, but I'm not going to tell you where to look for the final nail in the coffin for Lucifer, because I want to deliver that myself. It's a personal thing, because the one that did this is going to pay for it. All right. God bless.